Hi guys, John here, Inky Vaper. Sorry about all the cloudage. This is a video about the Tugboat V3, which I got from Herman Vapes. They're a chain of brick and mortar stores up in the north of England generally. I believe Liverpool, Manchester, that kind of area. Now what I'll do is I'll put a link to their Facebook group. They don't have an online presence or an online shop as yet, but they apparently will be having one. I was put onto these guys by Dean the Vaping Biker, and they sorted me out with the RDA at a very good price. So I'll put the details down in the details below, and then you can check them out if you want to. This is Tugboat V3, stainless steel, very similar in quite a lot of the looks to the V2, but this one's got top and side airflow, and the airflow is quite a bit bigger than the previous models. So what we'll do is we'll go down, we'll take a look at it as usual, go through all the stuff about it, and I'll talk about the build that I had help with from Dean. Thank you, Dean. Hi there. So here we've got the Tugboat V3 in its amazing packaging. Thank you very much, Flawless, for your wonderful efforts in packaging yet again. Can you hear the sarcasm dripping from my voice? It comes in a Ziploc bag. Now I got this, as I said before, from Herman Vapes. This is nothing to do with Herman Vapes, they were great, but this is what Flawless decided is decent packaging and spares for a quite a highly priced RDA, in my opinion. It's sort of around the £70 mark for most places, and you get a single O-ring and a spare little grub screw and an Allen key in 2 plastic bags. Not good enough. Not good enough by a long way as far as I'm concerned. That is Flawless's issue though, not the retailers. Flawless really do need to up the game when it comes to packaging, in my opinion. If you're spending out a decent whack of money, I think people are now starting to expect a level of packaging that far exceeds what that is. So anyway, little whinge out of the way there. We've got the Tugboat V3. Let me just see if I can zoom in on this a little bit better for you, so that we can get a bit more of an idea of what's going on with this. I'll just try and focus that in just a touch better, so you can see the logos and shiz. Hang on, not doing very well here. Right, there we go. So there we go. We have the Tugboat V3, very similar in form factor to. Let's just pop the exposure up a touch as well, because I think we're a little bit low. Right, so here we have the Tugboat V3. Still not quite right. There, that's better. A bit bright, but hey. This is the brushed stainless steel version, and as you can see, we've got the Tugboat logo on the front there, the American US flag there on the back. This is quite a light laser engraving, but from my experience with the V2s, there was a very similar sort of level of engraving on it, and they tend to stay quite well. They don't tend to fade. So it comes with its own drip tip, which has also got the Flawless logo on it. I'll show you that there. The Tugboat logo, I should say. So as you can see, it's got a little tugboat there, and this is a friction fit Delrin drip tip, which stops it from getting. I've got a load of crud on the top of this. Which stops it from getting too hot when you're vaping. It's quite reasonably sort of wide bore because it's a friction fit. It goes pretty much straight down, and yeah, so that's the drip tip. we'll just take a look at the airflow. So as you can see on this V3, we've now got top airflow and side airflow. Okay, so the top airflow, I'll just take the top cap off. You've got the air goes in here and comes down through these sort of crescent shaped slots in the top, and that then goes through these holes in the which are directly above the side airflow. So you've got like a lipped area here, which is part of the barrel, and so your airflow comes in at the sides of here, down those crescents and through those two holes here. Obviously, you can if you line this side airflow up with this side airflow, you've got it fully open, and obviously you can just with the drip tip in, you can just twist it round, or you could if it wasn't just been washed and a bit too tight. But it basically just spins around and you can shut it off or open it up. Okay, so minor problem that I have with this is that you may be able to see there's still a little bit of water in here, but you do get a bit of a build up of condensation on the top of here, where you've got two metal surfaces basically, and the vapor sort of condenses inside there and just forms a little pool of e-liquidy kind of muck across the top there. Now, I was having problems with my build originally on this, and Dean, the vaping biker, the lovely man that he is, had a little chat with me on Facebook, and we discussed on how to build it. And I'm just going to take the barrel off so you can have a look at the build deck. Just twatted the camera while I was doing it. Sorry about that. It's quite a stiff O-ring, especially when it's just been cleaned like this has. But once it's you sort of vaping on it, it's quite easy to get the top cap off. In order to cut down the amount of vapor and sort of issues that I was having, you really do need to build these coils quite high up, and as you can see, they're kind of sort of like a couple of mil. I've built them so that they're a couple of mil above those two center posts, So you've got your positive and your negative there. The actual drip well has got a peak insulated. The whole of it is peak insulated basically. You've got the adjustable 510 going in there, and you've got reasonable sized 2 mil post holes, if you can just see. I'm not going to take the build out because this is working nicely. This is a stainless steel build, comes out at about 0.25, and been running it in temperature control, and it's been wonderful. Now what I did when I was building it is I made sure that these coils were nice and high. This is what Dean told me to do. The confusion I had was that I was building like a traditional side airflow, so I was making sure that the coils was visible in this side slot, and really by doing that the coils get too far away from the top airflow. And if you're going to use the top airflow, then what I found was happening is that I was getting more condensation in here, and it was making a funny sort of raspy noise as a result. So what I've done is, as I was building it, I built it nice and high, and then I popped the cap back on and made sure that I could see the coils through those two holes, so that they're directly underneath those two holes and nice and high above these here. It's quite easy once you get your head around the idea that you've got to get your coils situated so that they're directly below these two holes on either side of the mouthpiece there, and high enough that that literally, obviously you don't want them to touch this metal rim, so you want to be building it on an ohm meter like this, something like this, so that you can check to make sure you're not getting any shorts or anything like that before you, especially if you're going to put it on a mech. But once you've got it built up like that, it actually does produce really good flavour and really good vapour. As I've come to expect from Flawless, the machining on this is absolutely flawless. Pardon the pun, but it is very, very good. Everything about it is really nicely made. You've got your little logos and your serial numbers on the bottom. The drip tip isn't serialised on this one. It was serialised on the V2s, but for some reason they didn't do that with the drip tips this time round. I guess they realised that people don't really care about having a serialised drip tip. So as you can see, it's actually quite, because this edge here is very the sort of the wall of the build deck is quite thick. You've actually got quite a small area to build in, but I've not had any issues with any of the builds that I've put in it. You know, you don't want mass. It's not going to be one of these sort of RDAs that you put in huge, great big coils in, to be honest. But the flavour and the vapour off of this has been absolutely great. Once I got the build sorted, as I say, thanks to Dean, I've been really impressed. Now, one of the things that I'll just put that on there. I'll just take it off again because I just want to show you something. One of the things that I was wondering about was this able to fit the aftermarket top caps that you get for the V2, like my slam cap here, which is one of my favourites, and yeah, it's not really going to fit on there without distorting and probably touching on those coils, to be honest. You could build it lower, I guess, but the comp cap kind of fits on, but still the airflow's in all the wrong places. So it's a shame, really. If you've got a lot of the other caps for the V2, they won't be fitting on the V3, unfortunately. Build quality is excellent. The grub screws are very good. The posts are nice and, you know, they're decent size. You could get sort of reasonable size Claptons in there, but nothing too honking great big, because that build deck is reasonably tiny. Other than that, 510 protrudes nicely, as you can see, and it is adjustable, so it's one that can definitely be used, in my opinion, can be used on hybrids, but obviously you're best off checking that kind of thing when you get yours, or if you get yours. So there we have it. A very nice looking RDA, as always, from Flawless. I think their tugboat, I've always liked the design of the tugboats, especially the V2, and now the V3 I think is still a very nice, classy looking mod. I know why they put the American flag on there. It's to show that it's made in America and all the rest of it, but for me, I could do without it. It gets a bit fussy, I think, with the American flag and the logo on the front there, but it's not a deal breaker for me. I've had enough tugboat. I've got 3 tugboat V2s, and I've now got the V3. It's not a deal breaker. It's not too garish, I guess, but yeah, I could live without having flags on my mods, to be honest. I could even do without the logo on the side, to be perfectly fair. But it is a decent looking Atty. It's extremely well made. The stainless steel is really thick and chunky. The posts are extremely sturdy. Everything about it is very well made. The grub screws are not sharp. I've not had any problems or issues with it cutting or splitting wires or anything like that. So it's a good looking little piece of kit here. So we'll go back up top. I've obviously given you some of my thoughts about it already, but we'll go through the pros and cons up top. I'll re-wick this and be vaping on it when we talk again. So I'll see you up top in just a few moments. Right, Welcome back, guys. This is I have to say I'm very impressed. I was kind of it took me a fair while to get the build right on this, because I was concentrating, like I said in the close-up, I was concentrating on getting the coils situated for side airflow and forgetting about the top airflow. I've only really had a couple of like top airflow RDAs before, and they were just purely top airflow, so it kind of threw me for a loop a bit. But having a chat on Facebook Messenger with Dean, he put me right, and I've got a build in here that now, that the way that I showed you in the up close is working well, and the Vaper production is really good, and the flavour is excellent as well, which is something that I've always liked about the Flawless tugboats. Looks wise, it still of the it still takes a lot of its styling cues from the original tugboats, so you take one look at it and it's a tugboat. It does miss out on a domed top cap, but because of the way that the airflow works, that's kind of why, I guess. So generally speaking, let's go. I suppose we'll go through the cons first of all. One of the biggest cons that I've got is this, and I know I went on about it in the close-up, but I'm going to go on about it again. This is just not acceptable, in my opinion, for an RDA of this caliber and of this price range. A Ziploc bag with one O-ring and one grub screw and an Allen key, that's just not good enough. It really isn't good enough. Not in this day and age. Not when you're buying RDAs like, for instance, Twisted Messes, and you get a full set of everything, and it comes in a nice presentation box as well. So that's just a gripe. It pisses me off that you pay this kind of money, and like I said in the close-up, this is this is nothing to do with the retailers. This is to do with the actual manufacturer. The fact that they think it is acceptable to send out a quality product in effectively a Ziploc bag. It's just not good enough. Not nowadays. I don't think. I think people are expecting much more professional packaging from their devices and from manufacturers, especially a manufacturer of the caliber of Flawless. So yeah, sort it out. Another minor con is the fact that after you've been vaping I've only just re-wicked this and started vaping it, so it's not there now, but the fact that you do get this sort of condensation building up on these two flat surfaces where the top airflow goes is, in my opinion, it's a minor con, but it's annoying enough that it bears mentioning. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that it gets condensation building up in there. That's really the only two cons that I've got for this RDA. Other than those two things, the build quality of this RDA is immaculate. It came very, very clean. Obviously, I still stuck it in my Sonic, but there was no smell of any kind of machine oil. There was no bits of metal in there. There was nothing. It was absolutely spotless. But like everything, give it a clean anyway. But you don't need to go to town on this one. It certainly didn't stink of oil like a lot of other RDAs that I've. Sorry, shutting the drawer there. A lot of other RDAs that I've had and tanks for that matter have been quite stinky. So thumbs up for that one anyway. The ease of build on this is, it's a very simple 2-post, 2 holes. You just put your wires in, bend them round to sort of hold the one coil in place, put your next one in, do the same, tighten everything down and clip off your wires. It's a breeze to build. The positioning of the coils is key with this thing though. Like I showed you in the close-up, getting those coils high enough so that they take advantage of the top airflow, but obviously not too high so that they short on the top of the. You don't want it to be shorting on the top of the top cap there. Once you've done that, the flavour on this is brilliant, and I think the Vapor's really good as well for something that is obviously not a strictly sort of a cloud chasing RDA. Produces really good, thick, dense Vaper. I've got it running in stainless steel. I've got a 0.25 ohm stainless steel build, 24 gauge. About 8 or 9 wraps, I think, on a 3mm bit, 440 degrees Fahrenheit, 75 watts, and it's performing really well. When it comes to dripping, I just pull the whole top cap off and just drip, and then put it back on again. Now the O-ring is nice and tight, but not so tight that it's a ball ache to pull the top cap off to drip. I've not had any kind of seepage or leakage from taking the top cap on and off, which was something that the previous tugboats suffered from. It's an excellent RDA. It has, for those of you that know me, I absolutely loved my V2s. I still use them on a regular basis. They're one of my favourite drippers of all time, and this is definitely, in my opinion, an improvement. I think as I've gone on with my dripping and my vaping, on a dripper I want a little bit more airflow, and this provides it in bucket loads. You can turn down the top airflow by turning the top cap there. You just twist it round. Obviously the more juice it's got on, you've got it, the easier that becomes. And you can also close off the airflow at the bottom by just twisting the barrel round, and the two sort of scallops in the side of the build deck cut off the airflow. The airflow on the sides is definitely one that comes in and then sort of goes up and goes underneath the coil. So when you're wicking it, you need to make sure you leave a nice gap underneath the coil. Don't put a bed of cotton under there. Just literally just put your cotton in just deep enough so that it touches the bottom of the deck, and just tuck it right to the sides of the deck, and you'll get really good vapor and flavour from it. So yeah. If you're interested in one of these, I don't know how many. I don't know whether Herman Vapes have still got any. I know that they had them in when obviously when I bought mine. I've had it for a while now. It's taken me a while to actually review this because, as I said, I was having difficulty getting the build right, and it wasn't gelling with me at all for a while. But once I got that eureka moment after talking to Dean, I love it now. And I thoroughly recommend it. It is rapidly becoming one of my go-to drippers. I really enjoy the flavour and the vapour that I'm getting off of this. So if you want one, I'll put the details in the description below for Herman Vapes Facebook group, and you can get in contact with them. But obviously there's quite a few people selling them now. They're not quite as sort of hard to get hold of as they were when I was trying to get mine. So thanks very much again for watching another one of my videos. If you've liked what you've seen, please press the like button, and if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe, so that I can provide you with more content. I'm going to be having hopefully the Tsunami and the the Goon RDAs coming up soon, so it's going to be a bit more fun with drippers for the next couple of videos, because I don't know about you, but I'm getting a bit sick of tanks. So anyway, I'll say goodbye, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.